The Zorath Combine ruled over 170 star systems. Their ships patrolled deep space, their colonies stretched across nebulae, and their name alone could silence rebellions. On the capital world Zorath Prime, the High Council met beneath the twin suns. Inside the obsidian tower of the spire, the galaxy's most feared leaders gathered, sharp, scaled, and ruthless. Yet today, their screen showed something unexpected. Another primitive signal. Grand Strategist Relvac hissed, barbed fingers tapping against the table. Yes, from a planet called Earth, replied a technician, nervously shifting behind his console. The room chuckled in a dozen languages. Earth, a small planet near the edge of the spiral arm. Barely a blip. No known space presence, no known weapons, no alliances. Some records showed their world still argued about climate, politics, and entertainment broadcasts. What do they say? Relvic asked, amused. The technician brought up the signal. It was short, simple, human voices translated instantly. This is Earth. We greet all civilizations in peace. We come not to conquer or kneel, but to learn and defend what is ours. If you seek war, remember, we warned you. Then cordons followed deep within Terran space. Then, one last sentence. Come, if you dare. There was silence in the room, then more laughter. Cold and confident. They don't even have warp beacons, scoffed General Thren. Are they trying to bluff us with a scavenged transmission? But one counselor, an older one named Vekrul, narrowed his eyes. We've never encountered this species directly. Where did they get our frequency? The question floated for a moment, ignored. Relvec stood. I say we answer their call. A hologram of the sector spun above them. Send a scout fleet. Let them see what happens when you joke with the Zoroth Combine. Cheers echoed through the chamber. The fleet departs within hours. 7 sleek warships launched from Zorath Prime. They weren't even top tier, just a warning group. Fast armed and overconfident. Each carried plasma lances, gravity mines, and crews trained in subjugation. They entered warp space like knives into silk-aimed, straight at the Terran coordinates. Commander Zelvan, leading the scout group, had little patience for what he called planetary trash. He read Earth's signal again and scoffed. Come. If you dare, what fools, he muttered. This will be fast. The fleet jumped. 7 ships. 1,200 Zoroth warriors. Lost in silence 3 days later. Nothing, no return signal, no reply to hails, no sensor echoes. The fleet had entered. Terran spacehand vanished. High Council meetings turned tense. Messages were sent. Surveillance drones were launched. They, too, disappeared. Zorath intelligence assumed a trap or internal mutiny until something came back. One of the automated listening posts drifting on the edge of the Perseus. Vale picked up a strange signal. It was faint, glitched, barely recognizable, but it matched Zorath fleet encryption. The transmission looped only one phrase, they're watching, and then static whispers in the dark. Panic hadn't yet gripped the Zoroth Combine, but unease spread like mold beneath a sealed dome. Where was the fleet? Zoroth was used to crushing enemies in hours, not losing. Ships in silence. Some whispered that Earth had help. Others said it was a trick of the void. But one theory grew bolder with each passing day. Maybe Earth wasn't weak at all. A surviving drone from Sector 12 finally sent one still image before its feed died. It showed stars, then darkness swallowing half the sky. not a planet, not a ship, just blackness. Like something moved between galaxies, hiding behind light. Scientists said it must be a sensor glitch. Strategists weren't so sure. The High Council began pulling fleet movements away from Terran sectors, quietly, slowly, hoping no one would notice. Earth's silence meanwhile. Earth remained quiet. No follow-up message, no defense broadcasts, no official claim of victory, just silence. But spy satellites, orbiting neutral space, began spotting unusual signs near Sol system, heat trails of ships that didn't match known profiles, deep space relays that shimmered with quantum encryption beyond galactic standards, empty wreckage fields that didn't belong to Earth but were stripped clean by something fast, and above all, a strange distortion beyond Pluto, a ripple in space itself, like folded glass. When Zoreth agents tried to investigate, they stopped responding within minutes. The name Terran started appearing in intercepted communications from other empires, but no one had any first-hand knowledge, just rumors, whispers, fears. The survivor then came the worst. A Zorath rescue ship found an escape pod floating near Sector 17. It was from one of the original scout vessels. Inside, a single survivor, Navigator Krell taxis, skin burned, mind shattered, voice trembling. They brought him before the council. What happened? Relvac demanded. Krell stared forward, shaking. We entered their space, calm, quiet then. There were no ships, no defenses, just stars. And then the stars blinked out. Everyone leaned in. What do you mean? Asked. One, they didn't fire, Krell whispered. No sound, no light, no warning. What took you? Krell's voice dropped to a whisper. They didn't take us. They erased us. Gasps. They're not like us, he said. They don't talk, they don't threaten. They watch, then they choose. Councillor Veka frowned. Choose what? Who? Disappears. And then Krell collapsed, end beat. Far across the galaxy, in a secret Terran command center, buried under Antarctic ice. A silent alert blinked green dot, one of Earth's deep space. Monitoring posts had detected a new movement. Zorath had sent a larger fleet, this one equipped for total war. The system, AI, waited. Then a voice, human.com, firm gave a single command. Activate Obsidian Protocol. No warnings this time. A chamber opened in the cold. A black, crescent-shaped object powered up, invisible to known sensors. Its hull shimmered as it left Earth's orbit quiet. Cloaked, lethal dot, and somewhere in space, the stars began to go dark again. The Zoreth empires. Council chamber lay silent after the failed first attempt. The missing scout fleet wasn't just embarrassing, it was terrifying. The council felt it deep in their bones. They think we're afraid. Grand strategist, Relvac said, voice shaking more than he liked. We are not afraid, snapped General Thren, his claws tapping the black obsidian table. They're nothing but dust. Yet no one came to mock the threat anymore. No shows of confidence. No jovial taunts. The laughter had ended. A fleet gathered in anger despite uncertainty. The council ordered a larger response. Not just a few scout ships this time, but 12 war cruisers. Armed to the teeth plasma cannons, missile grids, drone bays, and gravity mines. Commander Illich Voss, famed for crushing pirate rebellions in 3 systems, was chosen to lead. He stood before the assembled crew on the massive flagship Zoreth's Fury and boasted, They think Earth is weak. They think we'll be gone before they blink. Tonight, we make them blink. The other ships buzzed with readiness. Sections of the fleet's crew ran through drills. Engineers loaded weapons. Navigators calculated jumps. They didn't fear Earth. They didn't expect anything unusual. 2. The jump and the silence. 10 hours later, the fleet jumped. On board each ship, screens flickered as stars stretched into lines, then collapsed. No boundary, no turbulence, just the lurch of the jump. Then, silence. They emerged just outside the coordinate mess they'd been sent into. But sensors read nothing. No planets, no coms, no debris, no sign of Earth, or their previous fleet. Commander Voss's voice echoed over comms. Report, now. Some replied quickly. Others had no answer, until one ship, Zoroth's Spear, went dead silent. 3. A cruiser, Venetia Sheroth's Spear, disappeared only minutes after exiting hyperspace. They didn't fire. They didn't report trouble. They just vanished. Whole commander. Voss turned pale. Hold position. Do not respond to temptation. 5 minutes later, another cruiser, Celestial Wrath, went dark as well. Then a third. 9 warships remained. 3 were lost without a word. 4. Tension grows. The remaining captains argued on comms. This is madness, one shouted. We didn't even reach soul space, another replied. They sent small reconnaissance probes ahead. No ships, no planets, nothing. But deep in the veil of sensors, a faint energy wave pulsed quiet, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. The fleet didn't notice. 5. Commander. Voss makes a call. Commander. Voss finally spoke. Turn off weapons. Engage stealth. We approach solo. He meant to send only Zoroth's Fury forward. He didn't want to risk more captains. As the flagship moved, the rest of the fleet waited, weapons offline, scanners running blind. 6. The signal just before the flagship crossed into Sol's outer orbit. Sensors picked up something. Not a ship, not a planet, but a low-frequency broadcast. It carried the same phrase Earth spoke in the first message. Come, if you dare. Except this time, it was deeper, echoing. More personal, and around the flagship, stars themselves seemed to dim like a spotlight flickering out. 7. What they saw, the viewports went dark, not from power failure, but from sight. It was as though the stars were bleeding away. One by one, Commander Voss stood frozen. Then before any weapon could fire, a single line appeared on every tactical display. I see you. And then there was nothing. The flagship blinked off. 8. The aftermath on board. The surviving fleet, alarms rang. Every ship huddled in silence, scanning, waiting. Minutes passed. Then Zoroth's Fury reappeared, outlined in static, systems flickering, life support irregular. A single message came through. They're inside, and we cannot leave. Number, video, no voice. Just those words, see final. 9. Denial and panic back on Zoroth Prime. The Council received the message. Panic replaced pride, yet they still refused to admit defeat. The Zorath Empire had never known true fear. They had conquered hundreds of worlds, crushed rebellions with ease, and laughed at the threats of lesser species. But after 2 fleets vanished near Earth, the laughter had stopped. The Grand Council met in secret now. Their tall stone chamber, usually loud with argument, code with silence. They were just humans, whispered Councillor Vec. Just another species. But no one answered. Not after hearing the last broadcast from the vanished fleet. They're watching anything that moves, and they choose. 1. Planet-wide panic on Zorath Prime. Military leaders tried to calm. The public news networks were forced to broadcast clips of past victories, grand marches, giant starships, and proud warriors. But the people weren't cheering. Whispers had begun. Whispers of Earth. Whispers of something waiting out there. Something older, smarter, and far more dangerous. Children had nightmares of black stars. Adults stared nervously at the skies. One phrase was painted in blood across a spaceport wall. We looked into the dark, and the dark looked back. 2. The Third Fleet, the Empire, did what it always did. Respond with force. This time they launched. The Third Fleet, 50 warships, heavy dreadnoughts, drone carriers, escort destroyers, fighters, bombers, the best the Zorath Empire had. The fleet was led by High Marshal Drenver Oses, a veteran of galactic wars and the last being to destroy a planet in battle. He had read every report, every signal, every whisper, and yet he still believed. If they bleed, they can die, he told his officers. Let's find out. The fleet jumped. 3. Arrival in Terran space, they exited hyperspace into the outer edge of Sol system beyond Neptune's orbit, and this time they saw something. A small satellite, ancient, rusted, barely transmitting. It floated in the dark like garbage. It read, Voyager 1. The Marshal ordered it captured as a drone approached it. The satellite emitted one sudden burst of sound. Welcome. You have reached Earth. And then it exploded. The blast didn't harm the drone, but it jammed every scanner for 6 full minutes. When the systems came back online, Neptune was gone. 4. The missing planet, impossible, shouted a navigator. Neptune was there, and it had been before the pulse. Now, where the giant planet had floated, there was only empty space. No explosion, no debris, just absence. The High Marshal didn't blink. Forward. I want Earth in visual range. No more games. 5. The dead orbit they passed, Uranus, then Saturn, then Jupiter. The moons of each gas giant were silent, lifeless, scorched. Even Ganymede had a strange black circle burned into its ice, like something massive had passed over it, dragging shadow. On Io, the remains of something metallic were found, definitely not Zorath design. As they neared Mars, Earth came into view. Blue, cloudy, peaceful looking, but no signals came from it. No satellites, no defense grid, not even basic COMMs, just one long-range message sent into open space on repeat. Come, if you dare. 6. Landing attempt. Marshal Dren ordered 4 destroyers to descend into Earth's orbit. Their scans picked up signs of life, cities, energy grids, movement, but no sports, no defenses. Primitive, one pilot said. Let's make an example. As the destroyers entered lower orbit, one of them ZHS Vectral vanished, mid-sentence. No explosion. No alarm. One moment it was there, the next, nothing. It didn't jump. It didn't burn, said the sensor officer. The remaining 3 ships retreated fast. 7. The message changes us. The fleet moved back to Mars orbit. Something changed. In the signal Earth had been broadcasting, the voice became louder, sharper, and the phrase changed. You came, you dared. You will regret. The Marshal had heard enough. Charge the Starbreaker cannon, he ordered. We end this now. 8. Earth fires first as. The Zorath flagship powered its main weapon. An unknown object rose from Earth's atmosphere. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't even clear if it was mechanical. It looked like a floating shard of night reflecting, no light, absorbing all scans. It hovered in silence just above the upper atmosphere. Then it whistled. Not a weapon blast. Not a sonic boom. Just a long, slow whistle heard inside every Zorath ship. Crew members screamed. Some collapsed. Some bled from the eyes. The flagship's energy cannon shut down. Power cells melted. It's in our systems, someone whispered. Then the object disappeared. Just like that. 9. They tried to flee the Marshal. Shaking now, ordered the fleet to jump home. But the jump drives didn't respond. Not damaged, not destroyed. Gone, the space where they had been was just empty metal. Every ship, same result, and on the main screen of the command deck, letters appeared, not Zorath language. Terran standard, one line only. Now you stay. 10. A message from Earthback on Zoroth Prime. The Grand Council had lost contact with the Third Fleet, but one final transmission arrived, on a secret channel used only in case of full military collapse. It was a video. The feed opened with Earth's blue shape turning slowly in space. Then a voice spoke human, but distorted. Calm, cold. We warned you, we waited. You came anyway. You see Earth, but you do not understand it. This world is not unguarded, it is chosen. Then the stars behind Earth began to fade, one by one. And now, we choose. The feed cut to black, cliffhanger, the last thing the Council received. A tiny package embedded inside the message, coordinates. Not for Earth, but for Zoroth Prime. The aftermath of the Third Fleet's disappearance shattered the confidence of the Zoroth Empire. In the Grand Council, chamber once filled with arrogance, and orders now hung heavy silence. Grand Strategist Relvac paced slowly before the large holomap of Sol System, black dots marking each vanished ship. The floor beneath his claws had never hosted this much dread. We lost 50 ships, he announced quietly, but his voice echoed like thunder. 50. Around him, councillors stared. Some clenched their fists, others looked away. None dared speak. The unspoken truth. They were being toyed with by a world no one took seriously. 1. An empire at odds. Chancellor Corvin raised his voice at last. We send fleets, and they disappear. We strike, and nothing happens. What do we do? Councillor Elabanis answered. Show strength. Send another fleet, this time with planet killers. Show them Saul's power. General Thren shook his head. More fleets won't help. Our weapons fail. Our minds fail. We don't know what faces us. Veckrel, the historian counselor, cleared his throat. We face an enemy that knows us, and bends us with fear. Our pride is our enemy. Silence again settled, thicker than fear. 2. The factions that formed within the chamber. 3 clear factions emerged. Faction 1, the Retributionists. Call for overwhelming strength, bombard Earth until it bleeds. Faction to the Hunt Advocates. Propose sending elite hunter shadow fleets. Stealth commandos to capture Tarantech and learn their secrets. Faction 3, the Isolationists. Argue for capitulation, close borders, hide the Empire, and wait out the Terrans. If they can't be beaten, maybe they can be ignored. The council was deadlocked. Debate became bitter. Whispers turned to accusations. and power fractured. 3. The High Marshals protest. High Marshal Dren Verosis, the hero who led the lost Third Fleet, appeared via secure hololink, his once proud uniform bruised and empty. My fleet was not destroyed by human weapons, he said, voice raw. They took control of our systems, our minds. They silenced us without weapons. How does one fight that? Many shifted uneasily. The Marshal had admitted defeat to something. Beyond death? If we target Earth, he continued, they will see it coming, erase us again, and will vanish in silence. We cannot even track them. For a desperate strategy, the Council hated silence. But desperation gave rise to a grim plan. They would launch Project Phalanx, a fleet of 20 dreadnoughts, each bristling with weaponry. A shadow fleet, dozens of cloaked corvettes packed with Zealand infiltrators. A single task: strike Earth, capture a Terran, return with knowledge, or die. It was a plan born of fear and arrogance. 5. Behind closed doors. But, as they approved Project Phalanx, whispers leaked through subspace channels. Whispered rumors of Zorath engineers dying in their labs' electrical burns with no cause. Whispers of lower-tier officers refusing orders. Whispers that this wasn't a war anyone wanted to fight. Across the Empire, night skies were more silent. Nightfall brought dread, not peace. 6. Earth's warning, again on the edge of Zorath space. A deep space listening post flickered to life. They received a single message, no image, no static, just 2 lines of bold Terran text. They divide, we unite, you come, or you vanish. Then silence again. 7. Deepening fear. When the message reached the Council, panic spread. The bold text mocked their divisions, their plan, their pride. Faction 1 seized on it. See now, we must strike harder. Faction 2 countered. No, they are testing us. Faction 3 interjected. We are already dead, only silence remains. The Council erupted into yelling. Fists pounded tables. Chairs rattled, but no decision came. 8 signs of breakdown out in the galaxy. Things grew worse. Zorath fleet crews were fleeing. Pilots reported seeing black shapes drifting in real space, no engines. No registration, just floating. Reports of entire worlds refusing to respond to Zorath commands. Some planets simply went dark, no defense grid, no communication. Quiet cities without life. Rumors said people heard. Terran voices on open channels. 9. Project Phalanx launches despite the breakdown. Orders went out. 20 dreadnoughts prepared to jump. For the first time, Project Phalanx moved toward Earth, determined, angry, terrified. But corridors of those ships were silent. 9 Terrans weren't welcome on Zorath. Homeworld. 10. Cliffhanger. The alien insurgent tweaks oft. Space is quiet, but near the edge of Sol System, the void had become ... Still no comes. No drift, no echoes. That's where Project Phalanx vanished. 20 Zorath dreadnoughts, 40 stealth ships, elite strike teams gone, and no wreckage was ever found, but one ship returned, and it wasn't the same. One, the ghost ship, 3 weeks after Project Phalanx's launch. A lone Zorath dreadnought reappeared in orbit around a mining moon. No distress call, no lights, no crew. Its weapons were offline. Its engines were cold. Salvage teams sent drones aboard. And what they found made entire command chains tremble. There were no bodies, only uniforms folded neatly on the floor. helmets placed beside them, and in every corridor, one thing repeated, over and over in Terran letters. We watched, too, panic and denial back in the Grand Council chamber. Fear turned to denial. "This is a trick," said General Thren. "Terran sabotage." "It's psychological warfare," said Councillor Banis. "They want us to fear ghosts." But others, quieter ones, no longer doubted. The Terrans weren't using weapons. They were using silence. They were watching, waiting, and choosing. And worst of all, Earth had never responded officially. 3. Signs from Earth spies hidden in neutral systems began intercepting. Strange signals coded Terran bursts, impossible to crack, sent across the stars. Some thought they were warnings, some believed they were prayers. One thing was clear. Earth wasn't hiding. It was listening and preparing something. For the message, nobody sent in the fifth moon of Jirani's prime. A young communications officer picked up a strange message. It wasn't from any known source. The message was short. "You come again. We answer louder." It was signed TSV Umbra, no. Such ship was registered in any galactic database. But one old historian whispered a name from Terran myth. Umbra. It means shadow. 5. Inside Terran, Silencem in the Zorath Empire began to question reality. Reports flooded in, warships encountering no resistance, only disappearing sensors. Probe droids turned around mid-mission, by someone else's commands. Entire outposts falling silent in the middle of busy shifts. Nothing exploded. Nothing was seen. It was like Earth had become a mirror, and those who stared too long vanished inside it. 6. One survivor speaks in a distant medical ward. A Zorath pilot was found drifting in an escape pod. Eyes wide, hands trembling, words broken. He said only one thing. It was behind us the whole time, and it never moved. They sedated him before he could say more. When they checked the pod's logs, every recording was wiped, except one at the 27-hour mark. A faint Terran voice was heard. "We see you." Then nothing. 7. The Truth-Bearers returned. The rebel group known as the Truth-Bearers, once thought destroyed, reappeared. Hijacking a Zorath beacon, they sent a message to the entire galactic quadrant. Earth is not attacking. Earth is correcting. We are not fighting humans. We are being judged. 8. Final scene. The dark horizon, far beyond any known charted system. Deep scanning satellites on the galactic rim captured a strange anomaly. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a star. It was a shape so large, it blocked background radiation, black, silent, slowly moving towards Zorath space. The last analysis gave it one label, Terran's signature detected. But no one knows what it is. A ship, a base, a warning. Only one thing was certain. Earth had stopped hiding. At Zorath Deep Sky Station, scanners had finally locked onto the giant unknown mass approaching the outer rim. It had no propulsion signature, no heat, no comms. But it was moving, slow, steady, and alive. The analysts zoomed in on its shape. At first, it looked like a dead star, but then a section shifted. A line of light appeared across its side brief, like an eye-opening. It wasn't a star, it was a vessel, and it was heading straight for Zorath Space. 2. Council collapse. Panic hit the High Council like a virus. They ordered full mobilization. Defense networks were brought online. Dozens of fleets were recalled. Admiral Vezek, trembling, stared at the data stream. "This can't be Terran technology," he whispered. It's too massive. But every reading confirmed the same thing. Terran signature, active designation, unknown class. Umbra Protocol Counselor Banis slammed his fist on the table. We should have destroyed Earth when it was still primitive. Too late. 3. Whispers in the fleet among the returning Zorath armadas. Rumors spread fast. Pilots spoke of voices on open comms. Not messages, whispers, always in Terran. Some said it was psychological warfare. Others said it was something worse. One cruiser captain reported, "A shadow passed over our ship. No contact, just silence, like we'd been erased from the stars for a moment." His fleet made it back. -1 ship. No distress call, no explosion, just gone. 4. Truth from the Corin, the shadows of Zoroth's political system, an old intelligence. Officer named Caldrix Longthought. Exiled broadcast a secret archive to the public. It contained footage decades old of first Terran contact. Except, it wasn't Earth's message, it was Earth's warning. A voice in perfect Zorath dialect said, "This universe is full of watchers. You've called one. We begged you not to." Caldrix's final words were, "Earth didn't build the thing that's coming. They're just the ones who opened the door." 5. The Umbra Protocol high above the gas world. Renthis, a Zorath scout ship, was intercepted by something massive. No heat, no visuals, only its shadow over the clouds before their feed cut. Out, they sent a final message. "We are under the Umbra. It sees everything. It is not a machine. It is not alive. It just is." The signal ended. The ship was never found. But 24 hours later, every satellite around Renthis malfunctioned at 1.6. Back on Earth meanwhile, on Earth everything was quiet. Terran media remained silent. Governments offered no statements. No fleets were launched. Only one thing changed. Above the Earth's south pole, a black triangular shape appeared in orbit. It didn't move, it didn't broadcast. But every ship that passed near it lost connection for exactly 1 minute. And when they came back, their computers all displayed the same message. "You came to our silence. Now we show you yours." 7. Collapse begins in Zorath space. Trade stations began losing contact with each other. Astrogation beacons stopped blinking. And worst of all, stars began to dim, not explode. Not flicker, they dimmed like someone had turned down the universe's brightness. Entire colonies watched in horror as their night skies went dark, one star at a time. 8. Final scene, a child's drawing on a backwater colony. A teacher asked her class to draw the stars. One girl handed in a blank page with a single phrase written in Terran English. They said, "Don't look up." The girl didn't know Earth's language. No one had taught her that phrase. She simply said she heard it in a dream. The teacher turned the page over, drawn on the back, in perfect detail, a shape, like a ship made of night, watching, while the rest of the Zoroth Empire panicked or prepared for war. One scientist did something no one else dared. Dr. Relar Voss, a xenocommunications expert, quietly boarded an old civilian research ship and plotted a course to Earth. His reason, not fear, curiosity. "We never understood the signal," he whispered to himself. "We mocked the message. But what if it was never meant for us?" He disabled his ship's transponder and slipped past the outer patrol rings. No one noticed him leave. 2. The sky grows quieter back in Zoroth space. Star systems began going dark at a faster pace. Entire sectors vanished from long-range sensors, not destroyed, just gone, as if light itself had been stolen from them. Thousands of Zorath citizens began to flee their core worlds, but the refugee convoys started disappearing, too. No wreckage, no distress signals, just silence. The phrase "Umbra is watching" became a curse spoken in hushed tones. Children drew ships made of shadows in their sleep, and still, Earth said nothing. 3. A forbidden Orbitreller's small ship reached the edge of Sol System. He expected heavy defenses, patrol, drones, maybe even automated weapons. But what he found was worse. Nothing. The system was open, unprotected, but as soon as he crossed the orbital line near Neptune, every screen on his ship went black dot. Then a single phrase appeared in Terran English. "You came to ask. Now listen." 4. Terran Contactriller woke up hours later. He wasn't sure how long. He was no longer in space. He was sitting in a white room, with soft light and no shadows. It didn't feel like a prison. A Terran stood in front of him, human, calm eyes. Cold, but not cruel. Rilar tried to speak, but the Terran raised a hand. "You wanted truth," he said. "Understand this. We didn't summon it." "You did," Rilar blinked. We didn't. You did when you tried to measure the edge of the void, when you mocked the silence, when you came to Earth with weapons in your thoughts." The Terran stepped aside, and a window opened behind him. What Rilar saw broke his voice. 5. The starless sea. He was looking at the edge of Earth's solar system, but it was no longer space. It was a wall of black, not a shadow, not a void, a shape, shifting, turning. Looking back, Rilar stumbled back. It's alive." The Terran nodded. "We call it the Umbra. It doesn't speak in language. It speaks in silence. And now it knows your name." Rilar's legs gave out. Why would Earth have this? The Terran looked him dead in the eye. "Because long ago we listened, and what we heard was watching us." 6. The old truth. The depths of Earth's forgotten archives, buried under kilometers of rock, lies a record. Rilar was shown part of it. Ancient Earth signals sent into deep space. Picked up responses. Not voices, not data. Just patterns. Echoes, impossibly distant. Impossibly old. The Umbra didn't begin with Earth. Earth simply accepted its presence, while other species denied it. And when Zorath sent its fleet to challenge Earth, the Umbra followed the signal back 7. A choice thriller stood before the Terran again. "Can we stop it?" The human looked tired now. Older somehow. "You don't stop the Umbra. You understand it, or you vanish." Rilar fell silent. "Then why? Are you still here?" he asked. The Terran gave a small smile. "Because we don't try to fight it. We live beneath its gaze. We warned you." 8. Final scene. Transmission home back on Zoroth Prime. A broken signal arrived, heavily distorted. It came from Rilar's ID. It carried only 3 short clips. A glimpse of the Earth, shining under a black triangle in orbit. A Terran standing in silence before a wall of shifting dark. A final message in Zoroth language. They watched. We answered. Now it watches all. Then static, then nothing. And the next day, 3 more Zoroth systems went dark. The once proud Zoroth Combine now clung to the edge of existence. Over 60 star systems were gone. No war, no explosions, no wreckage, just erased. Entire planets vanished from memory, and above Zorath, a shining capital welder ring of warships formed. Every last cruiser, dreadnought, and ion cannon was aimed into the void. One final effort, one last defense. "We don't need to understand it," said High Marshal Trevik. "We only need to destroy it." The plan was clear. Fire into the darkness, burn the Umbra away. But the Umbra had already arrived, too. The light begins to flicker. Zoroth's grand fleet charged its weapons. Something strange happened. The sun above Zoroth Prima, mighty blue star, began to dim, not flicker. Not die, dim slowly, as if it were being watched. Trevik shouted orders. Emergency teams scanned for black holes, energy drains, plasma anomalies. They found nothing then. All communications shut off. Even the emergency lights dimmed, and a low hum, like a breath across a coffin lid, filled every ship. Not noise. Presence. 3. A message from Earth suddenly. Every main screen lit up not with Umbra, but with a human face. It was the same Terran who'd spoken to Rillar. His voice was calm. To calm. "You still think you're fighting us? We told you we only listened first. You laughed at our signal." The Terran stepped aside. Behind him, the black sky shifted. Stars blinked and vanished. "Now it's listening to you." Zorath Captain screamed, "Fire all weapons." But no missiles launched. No beams lit. All systems were offline. Point 4. The sun goes silent across Zoroth Prime. Billions watched in horror as their sun vanished. Not an explosion, not collapse, just blackness. A perfect circle swallowed it, dark as ink, smooth as glass, silent as the grave. People ran, ships scattered. But it didn't matter, because it wasn't a weapon, it was a gaze. The Umbra had opened its eye, and Zorath Prime was now inside it. Point 5. The Empire's end in the silence that followed. One last emergency beacon left the system, a tiny drone it carried. A fragment of data and one word burned into its hull. Remember? The Terrans had survived because they listened, because they respected what dwelled in the void. Zoroth tried to dominate it, and now they were nothing. Their grand archives, fleets, cities gone without a sound. Point 6. Years later, some say Earth vanished too. Others believe it still exists, hidden deep within the Umbra. A new kind of species, not rulers, not conquerors, witnesses in the outer edges of the galaxy. Explorers still find strange ruins. Sometimes they find old Zoroth outposts, frozen in fear. Other times, they find nothing, just empty space where a system should be. But every now and then, a signal appears. In perfect Terran English. Simple, cold, and final. "Come, if you dare." 7. Final shot. The silent horizon in the last scene. We see a new alien species discovering the original message from Earth. They debate its meaning. They analyze the encryption, and one of them laughs. What could primitives from Earth possibly do? Their ship turns toward the Terran coordinates, as the stars behind them begin to fade. Not everyone from the Zorath Combine perished. One scout vessel, the Varkal's End, had been thrown off course during the collapse of Zoroth Prime. Its crew had no idea what happened, only that their home was gone. They wandered in deep space, half mad from the silence, until the signal came again. It wasn't from the Umbra, it was from Earth, a new signal, stronger, sharper, encrypted, but this time with an open channel and a message. You are not alone, but you were warned. 2. The secret archive. Meanwhile, on a dead Terran moon, long thought destroyed a research station, blinked to life. Hidden under miles of lunar rock was archive blacker, Terran failsafe. Inside, a hologram flickered. A woman in a Terran uniform. Decades out of date. "If you're seeing this," she said, "we're likely gone, or worse. But the Umbra isn't an enemy. It's a force. It listens. And we poked it too hard." She smiled faintly. "We didn't create it. We just figured out how to survive it. Barely." Behind her, a massive device thrummed quietly. A containment engine, built not to fight the Umbra, but to keep it curious. 3. The directive is unsealed. Zorath survivors intercepted the archive black broadcast. They thought Earth was destroyed. But this was a planned retreat. The Umbra wasn't a war. It was a conversation one humans had been holding in whispers for years, that Zorath had shouted into the dark. Humans had whispered, waited, listened, and now Earth had sent its second message, this time not an invitation, but a directive. "The stars are not yours. Speak carefully, watch closely, and never lie to the dark." 4. The Council reforms, somehow. Word spread. Species once allied with the Zorath began holding emergency meetings. Whispers of the Umbra's awakening reached the Council of Nine, the Creel Syndicate, even the Hollow Suns. Each one asked the same question: how did the humans know? That's when another piece of truth leaked. Earth's signalit's very first message had not been sent once. It had been broadcast across 6 dimensions, and only one species answered back. The Umbra. 5. The Watchers among Usias later. Terran emissaries returned not as conquerors, but as advisors. They didn't rebuild Earth's empire. They didn't demand tribute. They gave one warning, over and over, to those who sought power. Again, it's not just watching from the stars. It walks among us now. And then they left. No coordinates. No base, just the signal. Still pulsing through deep space. Still repeating, "Come if you dare." 6. Final scene. A new species answers in the last moments of the story. We see a young alien race, curious, naive, intercepting Earth's original. Signaled there, scientists argue. Their generals prepare a ship. Their leaders vote to investigate. As their scout vessel jumps to the Terran coordinates, the youngest crew member watches the stars behind them and sees one blink out, then another dot, and then they hear it not from the radio, but in their minds, a whisper, one word. Listening, far beyond the old Zorath borders, past the burned colonies and cold grave worlds, something shifted. A small, uncrewed prob-Zorath technology, but long thought lost, drifted back into normal space. Its sensors were damaged, memory scrambled, but one file survived. A short recording. A voice, human speaking, not to the Zorath, but to something else. "You are not God, but you are near. We don't worship, we prepare. You touched our signal. Now we touch back." The probe's last image, a blinding sphere of light, forming into geometric tendrils. Reaching forward, then, silence. 2. Earth reappears in the core worlds of the Galactic Council. A secret meeting is called. New scans show a planet blue, green, cloudy, that should not exist. Earth, it had been gone. Hidden, folded out of reality after the Umbra stirred now. It was back, not ruined, not scarred, but changed. Orbiting Earth were no satellites. Instead, rings of metal and light hovered silently, ancient, artificial, none matched, known. Human engineering. Theories spread fast. Did the Umbra build them? Did the humans become something else? 3. One Terran answers in the council chamber. An unexpected arrival shakes the room. A human, alive, dressed plainly. No guards, no weapons. She walks to the center calmly and speaks just one sentence. You were never the audience. Confused, the alien delegates ask, then who was the message for? She turns her eyes upward. The stars above the chamber go dark, just for a second. Then the holograms return. Normal, but something heard the question, and something is watching now. For the Umbra's response, scientist from the Grell Union, desperate to learn more, uses an experimental dimensional scanner. He tunes it to the Terran frequency. For 6 seconds, it works. He sees something. Something alive, vast, not shaped like a being but like a place, a shifting city of light and shadow. Impossible architecture, orbiting a core of silence. Then it sees him. His mind collapses, but his last note, scribbled in madness, reads, "We didn't find the Umbra. It let us hear it. Earth knew. Earth survived, because it listened first, and now it answers." 5. The third signal. It comes without warning. Across every star system, every station, every listening post. The third Terran signal. We warned you. We asked you to listen. Now we speak clearly. Stop reaching. Stop shouting. Let the dark rest. And then the final line, one that freezes even the bravest warlord's blood. This is our last warning. 6. The future unwritten galactic civilizations pause. Warships are recalled. Colonies go silent. Even the arrogant Creel pause their expansion. One by one, species begin to listen. To the void, to the silence between stars, to Earth. And no one dares to respond, not because they fear Earth's weapons, but because they now realize Earth wasn't warning them about itself. Earth was warning them about what listens back. 7. Final image, somewhere deep in uncharted space. A rogue listening post still records its final message before systems go cold. They are not gods, not demons, not invaders. They are ... the balance. And Earth is their voice. The stars above dim again. The void stirs, and the Terran signal keeps repeating one final phrase. Come, if you dare.